Coming up on this episode of the MD and Chef Team Show. Coming up on this episode of the MD and Chef Team Show. I can do this. I have to do this for maybe the family, for maybe your husband, your wife, the children, for an organization that you're working with, for the people. But you start saying, I have to do this.
Yes. You've worked your way through all the many different stages of the initial shock, and then kind of being that little angry, that protest stage. Oh, who let this happen? Why did this happen? And then you get to where it's like, oh my gosh, where am I now? You start waking up and realizing,
Welcome to the show from the MD and Chef Team. I'm Dr. Isabel, medical doctor here at the MD and Chef Team. And who are you?
And I'm Chef Michael, culinary nutrition expert. I'm the chef part of the team.
And what are we going to talk about, babe? Now, I can say that because he's my husband.
Yes. Well, then we'll be talking about marriage, relationships, parenting, intimacy. We'll talk about mindsets of success, overcoming depression, anxiety. I'll be getting into functional nutrition, recipes and tips from the kitchen. And we're going to both get into how to live a long, healthy, vibrant life.
Yes, I love it. Our mission is to help you prevent and reverse disease and give you hope in the process. Oh yeah, we like to have fun too. So let's get on with the show.
Hello and welcome to the MD and Chef Team Show. Glad you're here. Thanks for stopping by. This is Chef Michael here, and today I'm joined with your doctor in a mission, my beautiful Isabel. And she has a wonderful tool today that she's going to share with you that I know will make a difference in your life and many other lives out there. So, hon, what do you have for us today?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm really glad you're here. Babe, you and I get to do a podcast together.
Yes, we do.
That's so fantastic.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So what I'm going to talk about, I've entitled this When Life Happens Hard tool.
When life happens hard?
Yeah, super hard.
Ooh.
I'm speaking to those who have been hurt or blown away by experiences, by terrible things that have happened in your life. This is for you if this has happened to you. And if it hasn't happened to you, you are so blessed.
Yes, I hope it never does.
And I hope it never does. But you know what? Life has a way of coming and hitting us out of nowhere. An example that Michael and I have just experienced here in New Zealand is Cyclone Gabrielle, which just happened a couple of weeks ago. And she came in fast and furious. Actually, we didn't even think it was actually going to happen here in the Hawke's Bay region.
Well, yeah, they kind of said it was going to come. There was going to be some kind of minor damage and some flooding, but I don't think they realized the extent of what we were going to see, the devastation, shall I say, of what we were going to see in this area.
Yeah, and she came in fast and furious. She tore up bridges, roads. People's lives were lost. Grandmothers and grandfathers died in this. Animals died. Farm animals died. People lost their homes all in front of us. And we were like, wow, I cannot believe this is actually happening. Farms were lost. And I just saw in the newspaper, a farmer was being interviewed and he said, hey, my farm is worth $30 million and insurance will not cover for natural disasters.
And it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah. I mean, we're weeks out. There's still a lot of people that don't have any power, electricity. Yes. You want to talk about getting smacked hard. There's some real tragedies. I mean, we've been blessed. Yeah, there was some tree damage down in our area, but other than that, we've been very blessed.
Very blessed. So how do we deal with life's losses? How do we deal when life hits us in the gut out of nowhere? Research has shown that there's a 4-stage path to navigating life losses. And we're going to go through all 4. And hopefully this helps. It's a tool to help you understand if you're in this situation with whatever disaster, with it, whatever has happened in your life, this will help you understand, one, that there are stages, and two, this is not going to be your life for the rest of your life. This too will pass.
Yes. And may I say, if right now you feel, well, this isn't for me because I'm not getting smacked from life, then please pass it on, because I can guarantee you, we all know at least one family, at least one person who right now is currently dealing with some real junk in their life. And they just want, how do I get through this? How do I work my way through? And this is an excellent tool for anybody in that type of situation.
Right. People going through suicides in the family, divorces, financial loss, work loss, relationship loss. Okay, so stage one is shock. There's a sense of denial and disbelief, like this could not have just happened. And you know what? It's like an instant anesthesia comes over us to help us gather ourselves and figure out how we're going to deal with this. I remember when we were watching this, we were watching the news going over and over again for hours, realizing, wow, this is really happening around us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we lost electricity for a little while, and when it got back and our area got it back, we were able to see the news and see half hour, 30 minutes from where we were, what people were dealing with, which was just crazy. Yeah. But the shock, it's just the first few days. And I know, I mean, I've lost both of my parents. They both died young. I would consider young, 53 and 69. And I know I had to go through these stages. My first stages were just shock. I mean, I needed to deal with doing what I needed to do, but I was, okay, what do I got to do? And I was just in shock, just kind of walking around like a zombie, just doing what I needed to do after their deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And then stage two is protest. And this is where you're saying this should not have happened. How could anyone not have thought in advance to avoid this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's almost like the blaming.
It's, like, oh, I can't believe the government didn't prevent this, or I can't believe so-and-so didn't do this, or I can't believe they didn't reach out and ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, just protest like, no, this should not have happened.
Yeah. After the shock comes the protest.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that does happen.
Yes.
And then stage three is disorganization. The lifestyle that we knew no longer exists. You know, that lifestyle where we were feeling comfortable in. Yeah, it may not have been perfect, but we knew what to expect day in and day out. And we were happy there. Now we're feeling hopeless and powerless that this actually happened. One's finances, emotional and social support are lost. And we believe that we will never be back to normal again. And afraid of what is ahead. Thinking, okay, what can I possibly do? And you know, the stories we play in our minds about, I'm afraid of what's ahead, it's because it hasn't happened. And one of the things that we've got to understand in this stage 3 of disorganization, is we don't know what's ahead. And something that you really helped me with, you know, when we were going through our rough patch when I tried to take my life.
Yep. Times of depression.
Yeah, is, babe, and I hope this reaches your heart too. Michael would say, babe, all you need to do is today, one day at a time. Don't think about the future. Don't think about the past. All you need to do is do today. And you know what? That really, really helped me. It helped me understand that I don't need to be afraid of what's ahead. All I got to do is do today. And when you think about it, we just have 24 hours, every single one of us. We can't figure it out and we can't repair what happened in the past. We just got today. And that, wow, babe, those words really, really helped me.
Yeah, thank you for that, Hunter. Appreciate that. I mean, in any type of situation, when life has hit you hard, now you're at the stage of realizing, oh my gosh, it's not the same, and this has happened, and that has happened, and whatever areas of your life that have just gotten shaken to the core, you kind of have to, instead of like, okay, where do I go now? What do I do now? And you're trying to plan out the next year and weeks and months, and you start creating these stories in your mind of what's going to happen. The best thing is like, okay, right now, I just have to do one day at a time until I can get to stage 4. Because remember, you're in stage 3.
Right.
Now, you might not realize you are, but right now it's just one day at a time because everything is disorganized. I can't really quite think clearly. I'm trying to create in my mind all these stories of what's going to happen, which 99.9% of them probably won't happen. There's only going to be one plan, but all of a sudden, all these things come into our brain. So just one day at a time, you start building on that, and things start to come together, which then takes you into stage 4.
Are you afraid of having Alzheimer's? Well, you don't have to anymore. You see, the most up-to-date medical research now shows us having Alzheimer's is an option. Yes, you heard me right. Having Alzheimer's is an option. You can learn how by having your very own personalized pre-code report. Now, you're probably asking me, what is a pre-code report? Great question. Pre-code stands for Preventing Cognitive Decline, and the pre-code report shows you what unique areas you can start working on right away. All of this has been made available by my genius mentor and medical doctor, Dr. Dale Bredesen, who has been researching this for 30 plus years and wrote the best book ever called The End of Alzheimer's. Having Alzheimer's is now an option. There is hope. For more information on how to get your pre-code underway, look for the link in the show notes. Now, back to the podcast. Stage 4 is reorganization. And this is where we start waking up from this bad dream and understand this is not a dream. This is real life.
Yes.
And we come to a point where grief and sadness at the loss gives way to acceptance. Like, this is what it is. And we understand that this has happened to us. We adjust to the present circumstances and we start saying things like, it is what it is. This is my life. I am living this life. And we start to see the opportunities of a new way, a new life. And we start saying to ourselves, I can do this. I have to do this for maybe the family, for maybe your husband, your wife, the children, for an organization that you're working with, for the people. But you start saying, I have to do this.
Yes. And you've worked your way through all the many different stages of the initial shock, like, and then kind of being that little angry, that protest stage. Oh, who let this happen? Why did this happen? And then you get to where it's like, oh my gosh, where am I now? You start waking up and realizing, I'm not, it's not the same anymore. What do I do now? And now you're at this point of saying, okay, I need to move forward. I can move forward. I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready to go. And I'm starting to get myself back together again and say, all right, I've realized it. I see it. Now let's go.
The only reason I feel like we can really talk about this is because we've gone through the disaster and we've gone through all of these stages. And now we're in stage 4. And people need to know that stage 4 will come. But the question is, how long does it take to get to stage 4?
How long does it take? To get through all this.
I remember seeing a gentleman who lost everything in the emergency department the other day, and he was getting repaired for some wounds and some infections that he's got. And he told me about what had happened and how he had lost everything. And the best thing I could say to him is just take one day at a time. You will get through this. And I could sense that he just had so much peace from that. You could just, And I know that that always helped when you would say that to me or somebody else would say that to me during the difficult time. So how long is this going to take? Who knows? God knows. It could take months, years. I don't know how long it's going to take for you. I know how long it took us, for Michael and I. And you know what? I know that life's going to hit us. I'm not expecting this, but I know that life's going to hit us hard again. I mean, we're only in our 60s. And we know now that we will get through this. We got through that, and we've gotten through many other things, and we'll get through others that come our way. We just got to understand that there's stages. And God promises, I believe in God. Michael and I both believe in God. So if you believe in God, I just want to let you know what the good book says. And God promises that it will come. It will get better. He says in the Bible, there is a time to heal, a time to build up, a time to laugh, a time to dance, and a time to gain. Gain your new life. And I encourage you to remember that God is your constant companion in the mountaintops and in the dark valleys of life. He is your constant companion.
Yeah. I remember, thank you, Hannah, well said. I remember when my mom died at 53, that I went through all these stages. You were talking about how long does it take to go through the stages, get to stage 4, and then even move beyond, because I didn't lose anything as far as my wife, you, and our daughters, and our home, and all that. But I lost my mom at 53, and I was in my 30s, and I went through the protest time of like, why her? Why her? She was this amazing, amazing, beautiful person. And I was hollering at God. I was hollering at the heavens, and went through that protest stage. And then, it was kind of like, well, how are my girls going to, she's not going to see her grandchildren. And it took me years because also part of it was I didn't say enough of I love yous. I didn't spend enough time with her. Yes, we did spend time, but I felt like I didn't spend enough. I didn't give her my all. I wasn't the best son. I could have been better. Had to work through all of that. And that took years until I could have peace in my heart about Mom's death, and to just know that she's this amazing, beautiful woman that's looking down on me from heaven. And the best thing I can do is to live out a life that she would be proud of, and that would be the best thing. That is the best thing I can do, and that's what I do. But that took me years to come to that peace, to know, it's all good. She's wonderful. She's great. She's enjoying heaven, and
she's safe
and keeping an eye on me.
Yeah.
So that was an example for me to work through these stages and it took a few years.
Sorry.
To peace.
Yeah. I know. It's so hard when we go through all that, when we see other people going through that and the stages that they're going through, and we want to fast forward them to this stage, but that's not the way life is.
Everybody has to go through whatever it is for them and the timing it is for them.
Yeah.
Yes. So when life happens hard, tool, 4 stages to navigating life's losses. Stage 1 is the shock of it all. Stage 2 is the protest, your angry time. Stage 3 is disorganization, kind of waking up and realizing, wait a second, my life's not the same. Things have changed. Oh my gosh, how do I, wait, where, who, what? And then stage 4 is the reorganization, where you've worked your way through it. Now, okay, let's pick it up. Let's go. I'm going forward. And you're walking into your new life. How long does all that take? No idea.
We don't know.
Weeks, months, years.
Everybody's a different recipe. However, just know that all you got to do is just take one day at a time, and God is your constant companion.
Beautiful.
We love you all. And thank you so much for being with us and spending your time with us. Have a wonderful day. Share this with your family and friends. I know that will help. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Hello, Chef Michael here. If you enjoyed today's episode, we would love it if you subscribed to the podcast and left us a review. Hello, Chef Michael here. If you enjoyed today's episode, we would love it if you subscribed to the podcast and left us a review.